Okay, I just wanted to do a short video on one of the things that got me interested in the field of survival and survivalism, I guess. And this goes back quite a long ways. And I guess I first really started thinking about it when I purchased The Golden Guide to Camping. And this is a book that dates back actually to the 1950s. I believe it was first published in 1959. And as you can see, that's Walter Hatuarm. That's not my last name, of course. And 5-3 Alpha House. And this goes back to, since that was 5-3, that was the 5th grade, the 3rd class. And that goes back to 1974-75. Okay, so we're going way back in time now. And as I was going through this book many years ago, I guess you can do the math, that's probably over 25 years ago, approaching 30 years, I guess. My math is not too good right now. I came across this survival kit. And while the whole book was intriguing and interesting, I gravitated toward this. And if you can see that, right here is the actual tin that was being used, and that was pretty much a Band-Aid tin. Some of the younger viewers out there might not realize that adhesive bandages were once packaged in these thin steel tins, and as you can see, they were useful after the Band-Aids were used up. You could use them for numerous things, holding coins, holding whatever you need to, marbles, BBs, anything that you wanted to use the tin for. But this was the first time that I had ever actually seen a tin used in this particular fashion, because before this I had never really noticed that there, or known that there was anything such as a survival kit. And so, you know, like at that time I was, I guess, 9-10 years old. I just went through the list of things that I had readily available to me and made up my own little survival kit. Now, there are certain things that I did not have access to. For instance, the Halazone water purification tablets. But it says iodine also purifies water. 2 drops per quart. Let stand 30 minutes. And the candle stub. So quite a few of these things I was actually able to get. Of course, the concentrated chocolate. I'm still not to this day sure exactly what they meant by concentrated chocolate. Perhaps it may have been some of the chocolate that you might actually use for, they call it the baking chocolate, but I'm not 100% sure. All I know is it's a concentrated chocolate, and it's still a little fuzzy right now precisely what it is. But in any case, this had quite a few things in there. Emergency food. It had how you could actually build snares and such. Improvised shelter. As you can see, this thing is quite old and it's literally coming apart right before your eyes. How you can make classic lean-to frames. And I kind of demonstrated this in the Gerber, I think it was the Gerber Gator hatchet, how you could actually just cut to this particular part, leave this down, and then you can form your shelter out of that. So that was something that I just remembered from my youth. Survival, chapter 7. So this is really kind of what got me sorry, interested in the whole field of survival and preparedness and readiness. And I guess at that time I did not realize that that would become a lifelong interest. And yes, I even had one of these old snake bite kits. You learn about poison ivy, poison oak, and staying healthy, first aid. So this was basically the primer for everything that has come afterward. And not just in the field of survival and preparedness, but also, I guess, in my profession, which does include emergency response and dealing with emergency situations as a whole. You know, chemical spills, evacuations, power disruptions, utility disruptions. All those things I actually get into on my daily job. Now, not very frequently because they don't happen that frequently in my area. But in the event that they do, I have been trained and I have actually participated in some emergency response, mostly chemical spills pertaining to environmental releases and such. But I guess you could all trace it back to this little camping book that I purchased back, I guess back in 1974, 75, possibly a little earlier. All I know is that I just have this down so that when I took it to school to show my friends or to show and tell or whatever, it wouldn't get lost or taken by someone else. I don't want to say stolen, but you know, sometimes things wind up in other people's possessions accidentally, and I did not want that to happen to this. So this is, as I said, the primer for pretty much many parts, many facets of my life afterward. And it's kind of funny that I still actually have it. It's in, the pages are in excellent shape. It's definitely readable, but it's, you know, the spine is just coming apart, and you can just check out some of those old vehicles in there and some of the old apparatus and equipment. A lot of this stuff is definitely outdated, but the knowledge itself, the equipment may be outdated and outmoded, but the knowledge is priceless. Knowledge is eternal. Things change, things improve, but you can always count on the basics. Just always go back to the basics, and personally, I don't think you can go wrong. Look at that old microbus. Wow. All right. Thanks for watching. This went on a little longer than I expected, but I guess that's what happens when you take a walk down memory lane. Let me know what you guys think about this particular little book, whether or not you've actually seen it, whether or not there's anything out there that's comparable to it these days. I'm sure there is, and I'm sure that there's lots of things that are probably far and above in terms of information. Surviving by car, you know, this was just a great book, you know. So I went through this, and yes, that's one of the reasons why it's torn up, that it's been so used. Everything's underlined here, particularly the survival kit portion. But as I said, thanks for watching, and let me know what you think about this. And it'll be interesting if you could share what actually got you interested in the whole survival thing. Now, I do go back to the time when you used to see a lot of civil defense shelters. My old elementary school had a civil defense sign shield up there, and in the basement was our fallout shelter and all that kind of stuff. So all those little things play, you know, kind of build up in the back of your mind, and you kind of perhaps use those as a springboard for this particular interest. And I'm sure I did too, as you learned a little more about, what went into building the bomb shelters and the provisions and stuff that were supposedly in those shelters. I'm not sure if they were actually there by the time I was in school, because that was in the early 70s, and the bomb shelters date back to like the 50s and the 60s. But in any case, I think I'll wrap it up here and call this a video. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.